tonight is stepping aside. There's not going to be a cocktail party tonight. For now, and says he's deeply remorseful after strong criticism for defending one of this season's frontrunners, Rachel Kirkconnell, attending a plantation-themed college party 3 years ago, surfaced. Also coming to light, she's shared QAnon conspiracy theories and liked a photo with a Confederate flag.
Welcome to this edition of Viral as we talk about Bachelor host Chris Harris. Yes, the Bachelor host caught himself under fire after defending racial posts. Yes, Chris Harris, the clean-cut Bachelor host, making some racial overtones that he later regretted. And we'll get to that. But first things first, join in the conversation using the hashtag ViralHillConnect. And don't forget to subscribe. Subscribe is king. Tell a friend, call a friend, hit that subscribe button so you won't miss a thing here on Viral. We talk about Bachelor host Chris Harris made some controversial comments, some racist comments about antebellum wedding. Yes, Chris Harris made some statements that was off guard and was under fire. But let's look back at how all this came about. Chris Harris being called not racist, but saying racist posts. Yes.
Flat out accusations of racism and racial discrimination on the show. So now they have controversy on top of controversy. You have a one contestant who is under fire for some possible past racist behavior. And the host now under fire for seeming to come to her defense of that behavior. Longtime Bachelor host Chris Harrison,
the most shocking finale in Bachelor history. This is your last rose tonight.
Is stepping aside.
There's not going to be a cocktail party tonight.
For now, and says he's deeply remorseful after strong criticism for defending one of this season's frontrunners, Rachel Kirkconnell.
Already completely falling in love with you.
Kirkconnell became the center of controversy after pictures of her attending a plantation-themed college party 3 years ago surfaced. Also coming to light, she's shared QAnon conspiracy theories and liked a photo with a Confederate flag. Harrison, who has been the host of the ratings juggernaut since its debut season in 2002, angered many by coming to Kirkconnell's defense during an interview last week with Rachel Lindsay, the show's first black bachelorette.
Well, Rachel, is it a good look in 2018 or is it not a good look in 2021?
It's
because
not a good look ever because she's celebrating the old South. If I went to that party, what would I represent at that party?
My guess, these girls got dressed up and went to a party and had a great time. They were 18 years old. Now, does that make it okay? I don't know, Rachel. You tell me. But where is this lens we're holding up? And was that lens available? And were we all looking through it in 2018?
On Saturday, Harrison issued a second apology and announced he's stepping aside for a period of time, writing, "By excusing historical racism, I defended it. I am ashamed over how uninformed I was. I was so wrong." The former bachelorette speaking out overnight to GMA.
I'm happy that Chris is taking the steps that he needs to take to realize the gravity of the situation at hand. I think that this is the right move. It was never my intention to see someone have to step aside from a position that they've held for 18 years. But as I was sitting there in that moment, it was my intention to say that this is an interview that needs to be seen.
Kirkconnell is also asking for forgiveness, writing, "I was ignorant, but my ignorance was racist." Now, current and former leads standing by Lindsay, like Matt James, the current and first black bachelor, and Tayshia Adams, the second black bachelorette.
My jaw was kind of to the floor just because it was an ongoing conversation that was just filled with so much defense.
Dozens of cast members from the most recent Bachelor and Bachelorette seasons, including 25 women from the current season, issued a joint statement writing, "Just because she's speaking the loudest doesn't mean she is alone."
Well, I was actually really moved to tears by it. It was unexpected. You're seeing people say, no, I don't want to be a part of that if this is what it's going to continue to be.
You guys have to remember, you will see Chris Harrison the rest of the season. Remember, these tape early, so he's already part of that, but he's stepping aside. He's not going to do that live event that you do right after that final broadcast. How long after that, we don't know. And keep in mind, the show's been around 20 years. Before last summer, there had only been one black lead, and that was Rachel Lindsay. So those questions of diversity and trying to make it more diverse have been around for quite some time.
Yeah.
Sorry that Chris Harris under fire for defending Rachel Post. Rachel Lindsay, who was a contestant on The Bachelor, the first black bachelorette, took a stand and told Chris Harris that he was wrong on that. Chris Harris thought otherwise and saying nothing was wrong with the photo. A lot of people thought that it was kind of racist with the wedding antebellum. Well, what is a wedding antebellum and how Chris Harrison defended it with all this going on? Let's see how it came away with this.
History of slavery.
Hi.
Rachel Kirkconnell is a frontrunner vying to win the heart of the first black bachelor.
I really am already completely falling in love with you.
Now she is apologizing after photos surfaced of her attending an Old South plantation party with her sorority sisters in 2018. You can see the women are all wearing antebellum style dresses. I am ashamed about my lack of education. I deserve to be held accountable for my actions, the 24-year-old wrote on Instagram. Numerous wedding planning sites like Pinterest and The Knot have stopped promoting plantation weddings.
No amount of flowers or draping are going to hide the history of these locations, right? So I think that more and more couples have to be morally and socially aware of what they're doing.
An uproar ensued after longtime Bachelor host Chris Harrison defended Rachel Kirkconnell. Now, Harrison finds himself under fire and announced he is stepping aside for a period of time. I am deeply remorseful. By excusing historical racism, I defended it. I was so wrong, he writes. Rachel Lindsay, the show's first black bachelorette, had this reaction today.
I'm happy that Chris is taking the steps that he needs to take to realize the gravity of the situation at hand. I think that this is the right move.
It's already on Inside Edition. Inside Edition broke it down to you on what's a wedding antebellum and how does it kind of plays with plantation slavery and all this stuff. And it's a whole bunch of stuff going on viral that we never knew existed. And, we thought Chris Harris was kind of more vocal and more woke than ever to never know that he was ignorant to racism and stuff. But like they said, that Chris Harris has not left The Bachelor. He stepped aside as the host for a brief sabbatical. We don't know how long after these racial comments. But you see right here, Chris Harris made the apology that he was sorry, that he didn't know no better. He thought he knew better, but it was too little too late on that. Other Bachelor alums, including the current Bachelor contestant, Matt James, the first black Bachelor, who's currently on The Bachelor right now, said it was unacceptable for Chris Harris to do what he did. So a lot going on that plate. All right, let's hear what you people out there had to say about Chris Harrison defending Rachel Post. You won't believe what you people had to say. Let's take a look.
Great question, because when I walked away, I was stunned. Not at what was being said, because like Chris referenced in that interview, we have had these conversations. So I wasn't shocked at the content of what he was saying. It was just more of the fact that he was saying it in public, where other people can hear what you think. And your thoughts may be a bit controversial, but I remember also thinking, this is something that needs to be heard. This is something that needs to be seen. And I felt a duty.
Why?
Because when you think of racism, you think explicit racism. Most people do, not you, but just in general. You think wearing a white hood, saying things that are derogatory or offensive. That's explicit racism. But then there's implicit racism, where you have these unconscious biases and stereotypes and misconceptions of certain groups. And that's what we were seeing in that interview. And I think it was a moment for people to recognize what was being said and to learn and grow from it, which is what we're seeing happen now with Chris.
I've never done an interview where I've walked away saying, everything was perfect.
Yeah.
Is there something you wish you had said? Is there a regret or anything like that?
I was so focused in the moment, Billy, on not reacting because I needed people to hear him and not the exchange between the two of us. But in that moment, I wish I would have said, particularly when he talked about the difference between 2018 and 2021, when he said, was it not a good look there? Or is it just now not a good look in 2021? I wish I would have said, what do you mean by that? And what was the difference in 2018? He kept talking about this lens that we were looking at in looking at things through 2018 versus 2021. I wish I would have asked him to explain that. I think that would have been all the difference.
How do you feel about his apology?
You know, it's a little hard for me because I lived the experience. I walked away. There was no apology. The apology came after the fact. So it's hard for me to fully accept it. I'm going to need that time and space and compassion that he referenced to really accept the apology, because you weren't apologetic at first. And I'm not saying that I can't believe his apology. I'm not saying that I can't get there. It's just initially, it's a little tough for me.
So here we are in this moment,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's amazing how quickly things happen, but we're here.
Yeah.
What should happen now?
Where do we go from here as a franchise? It's kind of hard to say. Chris has stepped aside, which I think is the right decision, because like he said, he needs to take time to get educated and on a profound and productive level, to use his words. And I think he needs to understand what was done, what was wrong in what he said in that interview. And he needs time. He needs to step away to do that. As a franchise, though, where do you go from here when you start to
step
see
away from him, or should cooler heads prevail and see what he comes up with?
I think you have to see what happens. I think I don't want to play into being too quick to judge someone, right? Am I disappointed? Absolutely. Do I agree with that? What happened in that interview? No. But at the same time, he has taken the steps to not issue one, but 2 apologies. Let's see what happens from there. Now, I will say this. To see the contestants come together and speak out and to say what they don't stand for, I don't know how we continue in this way. How do you, when people in Bachelor Nation are upset, the contestants of this very show, the leads of the show, how does he go on to represent the franchise when people are so upset by what they saw in that interview that we had?
Coming out of the world of The Bachelor involving cancel culture and racist allegations, and now Chris Harrison, the host of The Bachelor and The Bachelorette and Bachelor in Paradise, aka the cushiest job in America, is taking an indefinite leave because he took his dumb foot and he shoved it right in his stupid mouth. Let me break it down for you. Here are the players involved. We've got Rachel Kirkconnell. She is a contestant right now on the current season of The Bachelor, where she is pursuing Matt James, who was the first black bachelor in the history of the show. Now, in 2018, Rachel Kirkconnell went to an old South-style sorority party. It was an antebellum theme. They were on a plantation. Not a great look. In the current political and social atmosphere, you can't be doing those things. We've seen it before with all sorts of costumes and blackface and other cultural appropriation. White people get in trouble all the time for doing insensitive, dumb shit where they're just dressing up and making light of a lot of injustices and atrocities in the past. So, the cancel culture mob is coming for her, and they're outing her with these pictures and saying that she hangs out with racist people, that she does some racist things. Now that's where Rachel Lindsay comes in. Rachel Lindsay is a former contestant on The Bachelor. She was also the first ever black bachelorette. She now works for Extra. She did an interview with Chris Harrison where Chris staunchly defended Rachel Kirkconnell, saying that 50 million people have gone to parties like that, and that only through the lens of 2021 does it look bad, acting like 2018 was that long ago. I mean, 3 years ago, Chris. We are talking smack in the middle of Trump's presidency, smack in the middle of the Me Too movement, after many, many examples of things like this, parties like this, costumes like this, going completely wrong. There's really no defending it from a time point of view. There's really no defending it from a hindsight 2020 point of view. It looks bad in the year 2018, and he constantly talked about the woke police. He kept saying, I'm not defending her, but just not a great appearance from Chris Harrison, which is a complete curveball, because the guy has been the consummate professional and always saying the right thing for what seems like decades now. Now I understand where Chris Harrison was trying to go. He clearly doesn't like cancel culture. I don't like cancel culture. A lot of us don't like cancel culture. But sticking your neck out for this one contestant, putting your career on the line for this one girl who was quite literally a dime a dozen in your world is fucking insanity. There's 3 shows per year with dozens of girls per show, and you're gonna put your entire reputation out there now for this one? Now you have the bullseye on your back. You're the ignorant one. You're the racist one. Fuck that, Chris Harrison. You gotta be outside of your goddamn mind
to do all of that for this one girl. Chris Harrison, hand out your flowers, stir up the pot, be a shoulder to cry on for the girls, and cash your checks. To quote the great Mike Ehrmantraut from Breaking Bad, you had a good thing going, you stupid son of a bitch. You had Caitlin Bristol, you had the Bachelor mansion, you had everything you ever needed, and it ran like clockwork. You could have shut your mouth, handed out the flowers, and made as much money as you ever needed. It was perfect, but you had to just blow it up. You, with your takes and your cancel culture, you just had to be the man. If you had no rules, please shut your mouth, we'd all be fine right now.
Seen you in a while. Nice to see you.
Great to see you.
So this comes after he defended a current Bachelor contestant about allegations of racism.
Yes, and unfortunately, he is receiving a lot of backlash on this one, Robin. Chris Harrison, he's been with the show from the very beginning, and this contestant, she was reportedly photographed at a post-antebellum theme party, a fraternity party that happened several years ago, back in 2018, and she's also being accused of liking some controversial post.
We all need to have a little grace, a little understanding, a little compassion.
The picture was from 2018 at an Old South antebellum party. It's not a good look.
No, it's not a good. Well, Rachel, is it a good look in 2018 or is it not a good look in 2021?
It's not a good look ever.
Of course, this is the interview that people are talking about. That's Harrison speaking to extras Rachel Lindsay, who was the franchise's first black bachelorette in 2017. Antebellum refers to a period in American history before the Civil War ended slavery. Now, Kirkconnell, who has been seen in these photos, has since then stepped up. She's apologized, and after the interview, Harrison announced he will be stepping aside for a period of time and then directly apologized to people of color, writing in part this statement. My words were harmful. I am listening, and I truly apologize for my ignorance and any pain it caused you. However, Rachel Lindsay, again, the bachelorette that was doing the interview there, she says she's still having a hard time accepting Harrison's apology.
When I finished that interview with Chris Harrison, he had no problems with it. He was fine. He texted me after. He appreciated the conversation. He thought that, he was like, yeah, I'll probably get a little flack, but thought it was great that we could disagree, but do it in a civil way. It wasn't until the backlash came the next day.
Well, that's Lindsay speaking on an episode of her podcast, Higher Learning. Since then, 25 women from the current season of The Bachelor have issued statements of some sort supporting Lindsay, denouncing racist behavior. Matt James, the current star of the season, the first black bachelor, co-signed on that same call for accountability. Now, as for Harrison, at this point, again, his words, he's stepping aside. At this point, we don't know how long that will be. It could be indefinitely, I guess, obviously, until we know furthermore. But there are several petitions for the call of him to resign, as well as for him to stay put. Robin.
Interesting. I believe she still consults people as far as, legal matters. I mean, she's just dynamic, this woman. So this 12-minute interview is Rachel Lindsay, the former bachelorette, and Chris Harrison. And so what is happening is that there's a current contestant who's still on the show with Matt. So her name is Rachel. Bottom, yeah. Right? Bottom left, yes.
Yeah, okay.
Rachel. So she is a little bit younger. I think she's early 20s. And so people were saying, and Kylie first told me about this a few days ago, that somebody on Reddit was saying that in high school,
TikTok.
It was on Reddit too.
Oh.
So she had said she was kind of making fun of somebody for dating black guys when she was in high school. That according to the story. So Rachel was coming at this other person for dating African-American guys.
Okay.
Then I guess people started digging up information on Rachel, the contestant on Matt's current season. And she was in a sorority in college, and I think she went to school in the South, and they have date parties. And so I went to Arizona State. We always had date parties, and they were themed. So I guess in the South, where she's from, they would do these like plantation-type parties. So obviously not appropriate. These antebellum parties, not appropriate. And so Chris Harrison has not talked to Rachel, the contestant. The contestant, Rachel, has not spoken about this yet. So you gotta watch the clip because people are upset at Chris because they're like, you're not getting it. You're perpetuating racism. You're not getting it. You're speaking over Rachel Lindsay, which is not appropriate. And so Chris did apologize for, what he did, what he said, and how he acted. And then some people were getting the other side because Chris was saying, okay, we need to be able to learn and grow and be better, right? You don't know until you know. When you know, it's like, oh, I shouldn't have done that. He's like, people are getting blamed for stuff they did in elementary school or junior high or high school or even college. And he was like, he was trying to say, give people a little bit of grace because they're still learning and evolving. And she obviously didn't know. And so people were like, no, you don't give her the benefit of the doubt. This woman hasn't even spoken for herself yet. And you weren't hearing Rachel Lindsay's point.
So what was Rachel Lindsay saying? I don't understand.
So it was, like I said, it was a 12-minute clip. So there's a lot of info there and I don't want to misrepresent anything with this. So you got to watch the clip. It's very compelling. It's on frankingjustice.com. And I watched it, like I said, this morning. I was kind of getting more info about it last night. But Chris did apologize. And he realized that he was wrong in some of the things that he had to say. People are now wanting his job, which is, like cancel him from Bachelor Nation and this and that. And that's what he was saying. He's like, we have to get rid of this cancel culture where people can make mistakes. People are human and none of us are perfect. We're not born perfect. We don't live a perfect life. There's no such thing. And you evolve and grow, hopefully, if you want to, if you choose to.
It's about having a conversation too.
True.
And trying to figure it out.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, just an interesting take on both sides. And, Rachel was great. He did speak over her quite a few times, which bothered me. But there was also, I feel like maybe there was a glitch because I think he was on Zoom. And it's so hard. Like I was on Zooms last night and the night before. And it's like you're not trying to cut someone off, but there's that glitch and that lag in technology sometimes. So I don't know if that was the case or if he was just super passionate about it and he was trying to speak over her, but he did apologize. It is definitely worth the 12 minutes. Like I said, I got ADD. I was like enthralled in what they had to say back and forth.
Okay.
So if Rachel, the contestant on Matt's season, responds or even makes a comment, I'll definitely tell you guys. But Chris did say too, now they're like going through her parents' stuff, like digging up dirt on her parents, this contestant, like trying to like get everybody that she's friends with or family members of hers and kind of dig their dirt up and bring it to the surface. So it's just getting really nasty. So I don't know what's going to happen, but it'll be interesting to see. But like I said, you got to check out the clip at frankingjustice.com and then the apology is on the Hollywood Headlines page. And then I'm going to do this next hour because I want to spend a little.
As you saw right there, a lot of people are not with Chris Harrison. Some think he should step down. Some just thinking that he needs to go away and apologize. He apologized, but I don't think he's likely going to step down right now. It's just he wants to let the heat go over the fire. He wants to let it weigh out so that the backlash and stuff goes out. Well, we have to wait and see what's going next with Chris Harris. Will he stay on The Bachelor or will he feel the pressure and leave? We'll have to see, wait and find out. All right. I've been your host, Kendra Dick, saying so long. Thank you all for watching this edition of Viral. We talk about Chris Harrison defending racial posts. Oof, won't believe that. Like I said, I've been your host, Kendra Dick, saying so long. We'll see you next time for another edition of Viral.